viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Bahrain Today. In today's episode, I have with me Mr. Suhail Algosaibi. He is the chairman for Bahrain Foundation for Reconciliation and Civil Discourse. Welcome to our program, Mr. Suhail.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Suhail, to start with this program, can I ask you what does your foundation present?
Sure. The Bahrain Foundation for Reconciliation and Civil Discourse, or for short BFRCD because it's a long name, what it's about is we are trying to help societal dialogue and reconciliation. Okay. We had, as you know, in Bahrain, a very painful crisis in 2011, the ramifications of which are still being felt. So the idea was to at least to try and work on bringing the people of Bahrain together. So what we're trying to do is promote dialogue among different sects, different sections of society, people that have different ideologies. Instead of talking about each other, we try to get them to talk to each other. This is what it's all about. Which is
I believe it's very important. I have been to one of the events that you have hosted, and it was really amazing. It was an amazing experience for me to sit with people of different ideologies, from different sects, and talk openly about their thoughts.
Yes.
I found it very, very nice and interesting. So, can you tell me, as I'm a youth, can you tell me how important are the youth in the society, in our society?
Sure. I don't have the exact percentage with me at the moment, and I forget the exact percentage, but the larger part of our population is under the age of 30, and a significant portion is under the age of 20. I forget now, is it 60%, is it 50%? It's about 60% of the population represents youth. This is in the opposite of other parts of the world. If you look at countries like Germany, if you look at countries like Japan, for example, where they have a crisis because there is no youth, most of the people are aging. We don't have this problem, which is good for the future of the economy. However, the problem is with the youth, when we speak to the youth, we're in touch with the youth, a lot of them feel disenfranchised, you know. Okay. And so I think this is a big, big problem. If the youth feel disenfranchised and they don't feel communicated to, then it doesn't bode well for the future of any country. I'm not talking about Bahrain, I'm talking about any country, any society. So absolutely, the youth is vital to what we're doing, and the youth is vital to the future of Bahrain. We are very concerned about the youth because in certain circles in Bahrain, and I'm not specifying any specific, say, side, but we have certain youth that are radicalized or polarized. And so as a person, a youth or young person or teenager grows up with extreme views, it is very difficult to undo those.
That's true.
So we are very concerned about the youth, and a large part of our activities is geared towards the young people of Bahrain.
Okay. So can you give me a brief of certain events that you have hosted for the youth?
Sure.
And what are the other events that you'll be hosting during the year of 2015?
Well, let me do this, Atifa. I'll give you a brief about what we do in general, and then we'll talk about specifics for the youth. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So we do a couple of things as the foundation. One of the things we do is we hold public lectures. So we bring in experts to share their views and experiences on what they've done. So, for example, we've brought an expert from Northern Ireland to talk about the Northern Ireland experience, just to share their experience. They're not here to tell us what to do. They're here to tell us what they've done and what we can learn. Okay. We also had a reconciliation expert come in who did a lot of work in Africa. We did a public lecture and a public viewing on a movie, a documentary on forgiveness and reconciliation and compassion. We had the director come in, and we took a whole theater and a cinema, and we did a viewing there. That was quite a nice event. In addition to that, we do specialized workshops. Okay. So we bring in experts to run 1-day, 2-day, 3-day workshops on various aspects of peace building, on reconciliation, on dialogue, on communication, inner peace, meditation, even how to overcome abuse or these kind of things. In addition, we have some memorandums of understanding with international organizations. So we have one with the Causeway Institute in Northern Ireland, where we send a group of people from Bahrain to Northern Ireland to experience the Northern Ireland process, to learn from there firsthand. I actually went on one of these visits with my fellow board members. And we sat in the same room with former IRA terrorists, with former unionist terrorists, people who have committed violent acts, and they're talking about the experience that they went through, the changes that they went through from making it a violent conflict into a non-violent conflict.
That's really interesting.
Another memorandum of understanding we have is with Search for Common Ground, which is one of the world's largest conflict resolution NGOs. We also work with an organization called Beyond Conflict. So we bring some of the international experiences and share them in Bahrain. And the foundation is neutral. We don't take any political stance.
Okay.
We don't criticize or condemn anyone. We truly want to work on helping Bahrainis. We feel that we represent all Bahrainis, and we don't represent one specific side, which I think has helped us gain respect. When we first launched, there was a lot of resistance against the foundation. There was a lot of criticism against the foundation. But over time, we found that people have become much more accepting. We are blessed to have the official endorsement of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. At the time, he wasn't in the government. And we also separately got the endorsement from the government, and we also got the endorsements from the opposition.
That's
so
really nice.
we have, it's nice to know that we are in a position that is respected by all sides. And we are non-partisan. We don't take official stances. If you see some human rights organizations in Bahrain or internationally, the human rights organizations oftentimes have a confrontational approach. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's their approach. Whereas what we try to do is be non-confrontational, and we try and gain friends and allies wherever we go. Okay. So one of the events that we do, which is like a crown jewel event, is a dialogue dinner.
Okay.
This is a closed-door event where we bring people from different backgrounds, different ideologies, different sects, different economic backgrounds. We bring them together. We just have a chat over dinner. We call these dialogue dinners. And these are probably the most popular events that we do.
Okay.
And we don't send out press releases, we don't film those, we don't take pictures. These are done strictly in private. And it's amazing to see the transformation when someone's used to talking about the other side, when they're sitting in front of the other side, and they realize, oh my God, this person is not as crazy as I thought, or not as extreme as I thought, and so on. So these for us have been very successful, and they're very satisfying to do them as well. We feel good when we see different people that wouldn't normally sit together coming together over a meal. And it's done in my house, it's done over a meal, people are relaxed, they don't have to have be formal or represent their official positions, So we've had people that are activists that you could say they're more opposition leaning. We've had activists that are more government leaning. We've had people from the opposition. We've had government officials. We've had members of the ruling family as well. And you bring people together, and that's what we mean by civil discourse. It's civil dialogue. It's just us talking and trying to talk about things that we have in common, rather than focusing on the things that make us separate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So these are some of the things we've been doing for the last 2 years since we've been in existence. Now, to answer your question specifically, for the youth, some of these workshops that we've done were specifically aimed at youth, and we've also done 1 or 2 dialogue dinners aimed at youth. Yeah.
Nice.
So when we sat with the youth, actually, we realized there's a lot of issues that need attention. So one is we feel that there's still some students suffering from sectarianism in schools, and I'm not saying one side only. Actually, it goes both sides, both ways. So you might have a Sunni student in a predominantly Shia area might feel a little bit discriminated against, and the opposite is true as well. So we feel that there's some issues there that some of the students are complaining to us. And we're not blaming anyone, we're just getting the feedback. The other thing is that some youth in Bahrain don't see a future for themselves, which I think this is something that needs to be addressed in any country that has a large youth population.
Of course.
So we've done a dialogue dinner for youth, and we've done leadership workshops for the youth as well. We've done 2 of them so far, or 3 even, and we're planning 2 more next month as well.
All right.
And the feedback we get from these are amazing. The youth tell us that these are really good, we should do more of them, and so on. So we're planning to do them maybe at least 2 or 3 times a year. And again, the foundation doesn't do them. We're not experts, but we know who the experts are, and we bring them, and they know how to do the exercises and the processes to bring the kids together. Well, not the kids, but let's say the teenagers or the young adults together. And again, when we have the youth come in, we make sure they're representative of all society. They're not just one part or the other, they're representative of all the Bahraini rainbow, if you like.
Okay.
So these are something we're very proud of, and absolutely we want to do more of.
Well, it's very interesting. The fact that the idea that you have, that you bring them all together, dining together, it does break the ice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when I was telling you that when I had been to one of your workshops, it did break the ice when you're sitting, especially when we used to have lunch together. It did break the ice, and the topics, each one of us was talking more openly.
Yeah.
Which is very important, and the youth out there, they want to reconciliate. They want to sit with each other, different sects, different ideologies. They want to know what's going on in every person's mind.
What we've found is you have, if you like, a sort of a scale or a continuum in Bahrain, right? So you have, let's call it the extreme left and the extreme right, and then you have various shades in between. And we've been managing to get most of the people on the continuum. It's the extremes that is very hard to get.
Okay.
Those are the ones we're still working on, trying to sort of reach these. And in Northern Ireland, they call them the hard-to-reach communities. Okay. There's a reason they're called that. So yes, you're absolutely right in saying that many do want to move on, but some are on the extreme edges that they're not interested in sitting with anybody else. These are the people that need to be reached, and ironically, these are the hardest to reach. But we're working hard. I mean, this is it's a volunteer job for us. We only have one full-time employee who's a secretary.
Okay.
He does this full-time. Otherwise, the board and the rest of the members of the foundation are doing this out of their own time. Us board members, we meet about every week for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Okay. Every single week. We've been doing this for over 2 years now. It's done out of a passion for Bahrain. Myself, I'm not born in Bahrain. I came to Bahrain at the age of 12. I was honored to have the nationality many years later. And this country has given me so much. And it's home, it's my home. And this is a home that we love so much that we have to, as a sense of duty, give back to it.
Of course. So, Mr. Suhail, if I may ask you, how can we raise the awareness towards the youth out there? You were telling me the extremists. How difficult was it for you to try to reach them, and how can we take the step forward?
I think before I talk about reaching the youth, the most important thing that you can do, that any person can do, is watch what they say and do at home. It starts in the home. Okay.
All right.
So if you hear some negative news in the media or the social media about X happened in the streets of Bahrain,
okay,
how you talk about it in the household is very important, because you're programming the children around you without realizing it, and they might get a negative or a positive programming, depends on how you act and say. So if you're taking out your smartphone, you're looking and you see some bad news on Twitter, and you say, ah man, these people are useless, or look at this really bad X or Y. Okay, the child is listening.
Of course.
Once, twice you say it, you're starting the programming. So my advice to parents is, no matter how emotional you are, and everyone has the right to be emotional about what's going on, is watch the language and the behavior you have in the house, because you're programming these kids. And the more you say something, or even directly to them, these people are bad, or these people are this, or these people are that, these things, you're contributing to the problem.
Exactly.
Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think this advice, I try to apply it to myself. Be the change you want to see in the world. It starts with yourself, it starts with your household. Okay. The next step is that we're trying to do with the youth is, we know one person, it starts with one. Then we say, can you introduce us to someone else? Okay. And that person, can you introduce us to someone else? Can you? And it starts, we sort of have an informal network that's starting. Oftentimes, we'll reach a certain point and then we say, can you bring us some more people? Now they don't want to talk to you guys.
Okay.
You know, so we make good progress with youth committees, youth clubs, other formal and informal networks, and we sort of manage. We have this nice net in Bahrain, but at some point it reaches, once you reach the extreme edges, they say, no, we don't want to talk to you guys.
Okay.
But we still try. But I think at the end of the day, the solution, at least to the social part of the crisis, lies within ourselves. Watch your behavior. Watch, because some people say, well, if it wasn't for so-and-so, everything would be fine, and not realizing that they're so angry that they're contributing to the problem. Watch your anger and watch what you say.
Try to be positive.
It's not just positive, be at peace. Be at peace with yourself. And then when you do that, you influence the immediate people around you, especially the children.
Of course, of course. That plays a very big role in a child's life. As we all know, like, the main part of the way that you get raised is from your household.
Absolutely.
It plays a big role in your life, and especially then the role of your friends and your schoolmates. So, Mr. Suhail, can you tell me, how do you find, you have been working on this for the past 2 years, how do you find it going on now?
If we compare when we first launched, we got our approval from the Ministry of Social Development in June 2012.
Okay.
And we held our first event in July 2012, so immediately a couple of weeks after that. The first event that we did was very well attended. We got a lot of criticism. Okay. I mean, criticism is putting it mildly, we got to tell you. If you went in those days on Twitter and you searched my name, there'd be some horrible things being said. It was, I mean, by definition, if you're in the reconciliation business or field, you're ahead of the curve, and we were ahead of the curve. So no one was ready, or very few people were ready to even use or pronounce the word reconciliation. So we were attacked a lot by the extremes. Okay. But if we were to talk about the moderates, they welcomed it, very much so. And they said this is something we need. And especially the fact that we were endorsed by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. I mean, this to us made a huge difference because it opened so many doors for us. There are other people in this field, but we are the most prominent because the Crown Prince has decided to endorse us. He publicly endorsed us. And this has opened so many doors. And we've noticed that from July 2012 until now, 2.5 years later, there has been a lot more acceptance. There has been, people are now less suspicious because they realize we don't have another agenda. We're not out to play any political games. We're not here to represent anyone. We really want to try and help people. So we're very happy with the progress we've made so far. We're getting closer and closer to the extremes. We're not there yet, but you know, slowly. It's a long-term process, step by step. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, you know. Yeah. But I've noticed, if we again talk about Twitter, because that's Bahrain's main political social media outlet. Yes. Some of these people that were attacking me day and night have become either allies or in best case scenarios have become neutral, which is great. We have reached out to some of these people to come out to some of the dialogue dinners. They're still saying no, but they're not attacking me anymore. And they're not, you know, so now they're like, okay, these guys seem like they're serious about trying to help Bahrain. And so I think it's just a matter of time until we get closer and closer to the extremes.
That would be amazing if you can reach to the
Inshallah, inshallah, by God's grace, inshallah.
That would be amazing to have all of us from both sides, extremists and moderates all together. Mr. Suhail, if I may ask you, you told me...
You may.
You were telling me about the events that you'll be hosting. What are the events that you'll be hosting?
We have, in the immediate future, next month is with Search for Common Ground. They have a youth leadership program, which is excellent. Okay. So these are events that we'll be holding. In February or March, we're hoping to have a trip to South Africa, actually.
Nice.
And to learn from their experience. And I want to just emphasize something and make sure to say it on television. The experiences in Northern Ireland, South Africa, any other countries, they are different. I don't want to imply that Bahrain is the same. Okay. It's not. Bahrain has its own unique circumstances, yeah. So it's unfair to Bahrain and to the other countries to say that they're the same. They're not. Mm-hmm. But can we learn from these experiences? Yes. Can we take some aspects and maybe change them and apply them to Bahrain? Yes. So we're hoping to have a trip to South Africa. In the month after that, we're hoping to have an expert come in from the US who is a Palestinian American. Okay. And this person has gone through a tragic family circumstance, but he is still pro-reconciliation between Palestinians and Israelis. Nice. I don't want to give out details yet because it's not yet confirmed. Okay. And again, in the month after that, we'll have another event So we're trying to have an event per month at least, in addition to the dialogue dinners that we're doing on a regular basis. And I hope you will honor us as well with your presence in a dialogue dinner.
I will, inshallah. Okay, if let's say if the youth out there want to reach you guys, how can they reach you guys?
The best way would be through our website. We have it's not a very beautiful website because, like I said, we're all volunteers, but there's a contact form there. It's bfrcd.org.
Okay.
bfrcd.org. All the contact details are there. What we're all about is there. There's a couple of videos that are up there as well. One can get more information, or just, if you just search Bahrain Foundation for Reconciliation, Civil Discourse, in Arabic or in English, the website will come up. So we're not difficult to find.
All right. So they can reach you.
We welcome contact from anybody. We've had people contact us, people who wanted to volunteer, to work with us. Some of our members have come through the website. We welcome communication from anybody. The more people get involved in this, I think the quicker we can help Bahrain move forward.
Would you like to give a last message to the youth and the older generation out there?
Well, I want to give two messages. One is, I want to repeat what I said, and this is for everybody, all Bahrainis, is one, be the change you want to see in the world. This is fundamentally true. If you want less hatred, you must hate less yourself. If you want less polarization, you must be less polarized. If you want peace in Bahrain, you must be an example of peace, and so on and so on. So you must start within yourself first. The other thing is, I would say to everyone in Bahrain is, keep hope alive.
It's very nice. I love the words that you said. It was a pleasure having you on our show, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers, for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this amazing talk that I had with Mr. Suhail Algosaibi.